Survivor Specialist Phil and Alexa are back, and with our episode 13 predictions and power rankings. And today we are joined by this is like a treat, because this is Erik Reichenbach from Survivor Micronesia and Caramoan, the only fan and favorite. Literally, I've said this many times on this podcast. One of my favorite players of all time, because he was the crazy runner at the time when I was crazy running in my life. So, Erik, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for coming on here to do these predictions and power rankings.
Yeah. You forgot my last season. Apparently, I'm buried on Ghost Island gathering power.
Your entire body is under there.
Yeah, along with like a whole tribe and all these other things buried there. So it's good to be here. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, no problem. We're glad we could have you on here, and we might as well just start with the necklace that Wendell is holding on to. Now, if you had a hidden immunity idol on a season and it was that large, would you be frustrated by this, or what are you thinking?
So I'm kind of different than most in that I think all idols are cursed. So I think every single one is like a way for me to mess up. So I try and give them like I think a good example was in Caramoan when Andrea got the idol that I dug up, and people ask me all the time, they're like, oh, why did you not keep that? Like, you dug it out of the ground, you got it. And I was like, I never wanted it, because I think it just puts targets on people.
Especially because you found it with someone.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's there. They all know you have it. Like, it's kind of worthless. You play it that night or you don't do anything with it. So, but with regard to Wendell's, that thing's massive. I don't know what you're gonna do. Like, he should just wear it around, but somehow he has it hidden. I mean, I don't know how you would hide that thing. It's massive.
I think he might have buried it.
He probably did. I mean, that's kind of what other people do too. If there's something that they don't really, because I think Micronesia was one of the first seasons, if not the first season, where people started digging through people's bags to like see what they have. And I remember at the time, Sari, Amanda, and Parvati, I was in the cave with them, and they're like, we're gonna dig through Jason Siska's bag to see if he has an idol. And they had to ask production, because I don't think it had ever came up before, and they said, you can look, you can't take it. So that kind of like helped solidify that answer. But yeah, I don't know, where's he gonna hide that thing? It's huge.
Exactly, and that's the whole thing. So we see Jason Siska's stick come back. He gets to, so Michael finds that's very easily hidden because it's small,
right?
And it's a stick.
It's an epic stick. Yeah. Yeah.
How did you feel about that actually being used as a real idol?
I thought they should have brought it back as a fake or something similar. Like I don't like that there's no creativity with how things are used when they come back. Like, maybe they should have made it so that like the stick turned another idol into a fake. Ooh. I don't know. Like, they should have got more creative, because I was just like that. I think it like was trending on Twitter how funny it was that you can just bury things on Ghost Island and they become hidden idols over time.
Yeah.
So
they mature like a fine wine.
Well,
yeah.
And even with yours, like, why not make it where you actually give that idol to somebody else? Like, and then they're safe at that tribal council. Like, that could have been a really cool twist, instead of just making it like, here's an idol.
Right. And I don't know if they did that because to me, it's either one, they wanted to keep it really simple. Then they like, maybe there's something lost in translation when they like, I don't know, get too complex with stuff with the rules. But I don't think that's it. I think it was just very simply like, oh, we'll just have a bunch of hidden idols based on previous seasons, and that'll be the gimmick. So I don't know.
But I do like the idea of them being oriented towards the situation,
like what they are. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like what Michael tried to do with the James idol by saying it had double power.
Right.
If like kind of take that and apply it to all of them, I think that would have added like a more complex use of them.
Yeah, like something more original to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, so as we're calling it a gimmick and saying it's not original, what are you thinking about Ghost Island?
I like the season. I'm kind of they have so much nostalgia over past seasons. They're probably thinking, how do we work this in more? I really am surprised how much I like this season, because usually I hate gimmick. I don't like it. I like more like, human interaction and that kind of thing. The one thing that does bug me, I think Dalton Ross brought up in one of his he did a blog on it, or he did a post on it about how I think Ghost Island should be based on skill and not necessarily on just you show up and sometimes you get a challenge, sometimes you don't.
Right.
I think someone on Reddit too mentioned that they wanted to go farther with the ghostly theme, like maybe have more night challenges or have something at night that happens, something along the lines of that. They can always perfect on this if people seem to like this theme. Maybe in 2 more they can have, survivor spirits or something. I don't know.
The ghost has now matured into a spirit after living on Ghost Island for that long.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had kind of talked about that too. Instead of just, I happen to be on Ghost Island on day 9 and Phil happens to go there right before the merge. So then Phil's definitely going to get a chance to play for something. We had talked, I think it was when we had another predictions guest on, we had talked about either if you're not going to get an advantage, maybe you can give food to your tribe or a different tribe, or you have to do some kind of balancing challenge, something like you said, a little more, just a tiny bit more skill oriented. So there's a little more suspense to it.
Right. And I don't feel that. I don't feel that same kind of drama when they, hit that stupid thing that says you don't get to play a challenge. I don't feel I don't feel any drama there. There's no human interaction there. There's no there's no emotions tied to that.
No, now you get to watch that person cook a bowl of rice and tell you that they're mad.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
And then give you their backstory. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
If they haven't already given it, because some people have been there multiple times now, so it's kind of just worn off at this point.
Yeah. What about more overarchingly? How are you feeling about the season?
Well, I was just about to say. So my wife and I love Frasier, and we were watching it the other day, and there was this great quote that just fits with Ghost Island, and they said, so Frasier says to his brother, he says, "What is the best thing about a really great meal at a restaurant? What's better than that?" And he says, "It's better if it's a really great meal, but there's one tiny thing wrong with it that we can pick at all night."
There you go.
That's kind of how I feel about Ghost Island, where it's like, it's great, but there's like 2 little things that we're just going to talk about endlessly about how we hate them.
But overall, it's great.
And
overall, it's great.
What are your 1 or 2 things on this season? Because I'm pretty sure you're probably in sync with what the community's saying. But what are your 1 or 2 things?
I think definitely like the challenge aspect of like Ghost Island should have some skill involved. That part is huge. I think also it's a surprisingly young cast. That's kind of an interesting thing. Like I think people were talking online too about how like young and beautiful the cast is and all this other stuff. Like normally there's like some divisions of older generation versus newer. It doesn't seem to be drawn on those lines at all. So that's a little interesting. That's a little unique. In terms of creativity, they need to have a little bit more creativity if they are going to have all these challenges and all these twists and beneficial tools and idols and things. Maybe a little bit more creativity in what they are.
Yeah, and I think that we've kind of passed that point. I mean, even what was it? Not last week, but the week before, like when they had the 2 tribal councils, they, nobody goes to Ghost Island. Last week, Wendell goes, and it was like Sebastian got to pick somebody to go, and Wendell was like, "I'll just jump at that because I know I'm going to get an advantage." So like he didn't get an idol. He did just get the advantage in that challenge. But like, I wish they would have like the Chris thing is by far the best thing that's come out of it.
That was fantastic.
Oh yeah. I totally agree.
And when we were talking to Joe Mena, he was the one I think we had right before that podcast or right after Chris. I think it was right before Chris went on. And he was saying, like, that's the type of thing, like, he would want to do. And, like, if you're, like, on the show, I know you haven't played in 10 seasons now, but, like, you never really got that opportunity either. Like, that's what you have to be, like, striving for and, like, living for out there on the island, even if you play idols.
Right. No, I mean, like, I would, if they said, you can get an advantage, like what Wendell was just offered, like, you can get a guaranteed advantage, like, yeah, I'm going to jump at that because it's $1 million, it's $1 million thing. So I'm going to take an advantage.
Yeah.
And also a lot of people, it's like, I don't know if people are getting more conservative on Survivor or if they're like, I need to play it safe. But I've seen this like drive towards safer gameplay over the years. And I don't know if that's something that's come out of casting, like who they're actually casting, or if it's that so many different things have happened on Survivor that people are kind of rewatching past seasons and seeing like, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, like trying to be more conservative in what they do. I mean, that's what I see twists do. Twists are supposed to push people into uncomfortable decision-making areas. So you see huge mistakes, or you see like crazy miracle plays happen.
Well, and I think like a good example of that is back when JT gave the thing to Russell. Because I remember that was, of course, the season where you got to sit in the stands and be voted on, were you the dumbest survivor ever? Like, lucky you. But like, when you think about it, what JT did there was try to make something happen. And now you're never going to see anybody do that again, because it's always brought up as this horrible, stupid, idiotic thing. When in reality, Russell's on the villain tribe, but like, you need to somehow try to pull the numbers, right? I mean,
it's creative, it's unique. Like, he was trying to be, different and do something different, and it didn't work out, so he's labeled an idiot. But if it worked out, how many people would be saying like, "You were awesome, that was amazing."
Exactly.
You changed the entire game, and now you have 5 heroes at the end instead of 5 villains.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. Right. I know it is funny because this season. The season is sort of revolving around your super fans, and I feel like they did a good job of casting a large majority of at least fans, if not super fans. And so I do find it odd that all of these people have studied the game, but they're playing the majority card, and the minority tribe is just trying to get in, and it's just not happening. Right. And they've seen that. How many seasons have they seen that happen? Yeah. So that's where I'm, I guess, just confused on the decision making.
So when you get out there, it can be confusing in terms of you have these book smarts, and there's some people who are like game bots to their core. Like, I think like a Spencer is like a game bot to his core, where he's like, follow these rules, follow these rules, follow these rules. Other people, I think that statement Kellen made the other day about how like you think it's home, like you believe that that's your home because you've been there for so long. I think that takes hold for a lot of people, and they just kind of forget like where they are, what they're doing, what's at stake. It's hard to keep that awareness. I mean, I definitely got that feeling of like, these are my friends and family, my first season. Definitely. The second season, not so much. But that definitely happened. So it's like we're outside that bubble of like, they've been there starving, they've been there together as like a family, leaning on each other. Yeah, it gets weird. It gets weird out there.
I was gonna say, it's terrifying that the first season is the one you felt like was your friends,
was your family.
They were like, that was like the most ruthless Survivor game we've really probably seen. Yeah, all the blind sides and people just cutting each other. That's the one that felt like your family. Like,
yeah. It's funny because people always were like, "Oh yeah, Amanda, she's this beautiful model," and I'm like, she was like my sister out there. Like, I had it was like family. Like, Sari was my mother, Amanda was my sister. Parvati, I didn't really talk to, so she was like a distant cousin. Like that's how
you only
it was.
see her on holidays.
Right. It was never like at that point in the game, like past merge, it wasn't like these are competitors. It was like it just kind of fell apart for me, and especially because I was so young. Yeah. I didn't have that, that ability to do that.
Was like Natalie just the stepsister that came along way late in your life, and you're just like, why is she here? Is that what?
No. Natalie was cool too. Natalie was kind of like a sister figure too, because she was just like, oh, you're so cute. You've never been anywhere. You'll come to LA. You'll visit us in LA for the first time. Like, she was super nice, and she was there from the start too, along with Alexis. So they were like, they kind of like took me under their wing and like, he hasn't been anywhere. He's lived in a town.
Oh my gosh, that's their selling.
Yeah, they loved it. So they were fine. But it also kind of worked in my favor because I was seen as like this, nice kid who doesn't know anything. So they just carried me along.
Yeah, I mean, you have like the best line in any audition video that anybody's ever seen, where you say, "I'm young, so I'll do something stupid." Like, right? It's the best. And like watching that 5 seasons later, after you give up the idol, it's like, oh my god! Like, Erik knew himself. Like, he knew what he was going out there, and that he was going. You knew that there was naive. I don't know how to say the
naivete. Yeah,
that's it. Naivete.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
You had some of that though.
Yeah,
you had some of that. I don't think.
Naivete, yeah.
Navidi, exactly. I don't think some people see that.
And that's the thing too that I try to tell people when they apply is like, pitch yourself, no matter if you have some flaws. Like, if you know you have a flaw, like if you ask your close family members, what are my flaws? They'll tell you, and if you can just be able to tell that to CBS, they're gonna be like, oh, this person's awesome. Like, I know, like, because they're trying to meet you, they're trying to know you from a 3-minute video. So just tell them that stuff.
Yeah, no, that's great advice. I've heard that.
It is good advice.
Before, it's just I don't have any flaws, so it hurts. But
it's tough.
That's a coach move or
that's
Ace Gordon move.
Only if I
nice
was like
reference.
that. There's a nice name drop.
That is a good name drop.
See, there's probably, Eric, here's the thing too. There's probably people who've been watching us now for like a couple seasons who are so confused as to who you are because you're not from like season 30 on. Because there's so many like of the fans who are just coming in at third. So when you're dropping Ace Gordon, you're gonna have like the super fans like, yeah, there we go. Now we're talking.
His Google searches are gonna skyrocket after this.
Could he grow hair? We don't know. Like
the weird thing too is like, so I was a fan of the show like early, like 1, 2, 3, 4, somewhere in that range. Dropped off. Didn't watch it as much just because I was in high school and busy with doing other stuff. In college, I found out it was still on TV, so I got back into it, started watching it again. When they called me and they said, "We love your video. We're looking for Survivor fans. You're going to come out to LA." I printed off every single Wikipedia page on every single season and just like studied it crazy. Like I was able to name drop every single person from every season and tribe names and colors and all that stuff. Then Micronesia happened and I knew people by name just because I met like people in Gabon season. I met people in the seasons after that. Then I fell off. Like I didn't see Brenda's first season at all. So none of that, like Sash and all of that, I've had to kind of relearn. So some of the new stuff I don't know.
So sorry, go ahead, Phil.
I was just gonna say I'm glad that you put in the effort to prove that you were a fan because hey, we didn't see the fans on Fans vs. Favorites 2. They weren't a part of the show. Yeah, but they didn't seem like they were fans of the show.
Some were. So some. I can't remember his name now. Beard, huge beard.
Matt. Matt was great. No, I love Matt.
Oh yeah, Matt was cool.
He went out early.
Yeah, Matt's cool. Matt's really good in terms of being a fan. Sherry is a big fan. I'm not a fan of Sherry. Sherry is a big fan. There were some big fans on that tribe. Some were not. Like I think Shamar was not. He just happened to be involved in Occupy Wall Street at the time.
He was in that YouTube video. Yeah. That huge. Yep. It went viral. Yeah, I remember that. Him screaming at people.
Yep.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, so we brought you on here to do power rankings. We can update you real quick. We've been having players come on or people come on the entire season. So just to give you an update, we've done like the people we've had on previously. So you're like for you to come in here at the end too, this is great because you're a first timer. And so this will be fun. And we had Will Wall on last week and he had Chelsea in 8th spot.
Okay.
So he made up some points here. So the score right now is I have 110, Alexa has 101, and then the Survivor team has 108. So you can come over the top here going into the finale.
Okay.
So we're just ranking them from
a lot riding on your shoulders.
Who you think is the safest to who you don't think is gonna last. Which
I just don't think Wendell's gonna go anytime. Like it's Wendell and Dom's game to lose right now. So I'm gonna put Wendell at number 1. He's number 1. I think he's number 1. I think Dom's number 2, just because I think Dom could go. It's kind of a weird pivotal moment because if Laurel and Donathan act on what they're going to do, Dom could be gone. He could be number 8.
I will say. See, here's the thing too. I have Wendell and Dom at 1 and 2 also.
Okay.
And Alexa, I'm sure you do too. The problem right now, Eric, and on Karamoan, you suffered the same thing in that edit of just that whole season. You and Brenda, we knew we're not going to win that season just because we didn't see much of you.
Yeah.
The problem here is that's like 4 of the people left.
Right.
Yeah.
So in my mind, those 4 people, it's like a grab bag. It's so random. Like who knows who's going next? And I just think Laurel and Donathan are going to continue. They're just going to toe the line. I do not see them making a play of any kind, just because all roads of information will lead back to Dom and Wendell, like no matter what they try to pull. And I think Wendell's a little sloppy, honestly, in terms of, he doesn't keep stuff together. I'm actually putting Wendell at last.
Oh, so you're putting...
No, not Wendell. I misspoke. Donathan. Putting Donathan last. Wow, that was a big
Well, because
mistake.
you had just said Wendell was your number one,
No.
and I was
Wow,
like,
what did
now you're
Wendell
putting
do to
him last.
you?
What's going on
Sorry.
here?
Yeah,
Wendell
did he
won.
just like tweet at you?
No, Wendell's one. Donathan, I am saying, is last in terms of I think something's going to happen and he's going to be gone.
So
And I'm not spoiled.
Oh no, we
appreciate that.
Yeah, we appreciate that. I believe you. It seems like, hey, based on the scores right now, none of us have done all that well, so I don't think that any of us are spoiled.
Okay.
I don't think any of the previous survivors have been spoiled, and if they did a hell of a good job at hiding it, because
some maybe.
some might have done a really
Spoiled, I
good
think.
job at hiding it.
Well, they play a game where they lie, so
True. Hey, you know what? They were lying. That gets like their satisfaction. It's like we didn't get asked back yet, but we got to lie to those Survivor podcasters.
Right. right.
What do you think though with Donathan? Because for me, I feel like Donathan's got to be in this finale of this season, doesn't he?
I don't see it. I just don't see that.
What do you think his downfall will be?
I just think he's going to say something wrong, or he's going to think, he's too ingrained in everything to be like untouchable.
Oh, go ahead.
One of two things are going to happen. Either Donathan will make a mistake of some kind, or Laurel will look at him to be, put him in front of someone else. Like maybe he'll get pushed by Laurel just because Laurel has been talking to him quite a bit, at least in the last couple episodes. I see him going over, Seabass or Angela. Yeah.
Do you think anybody out there thinks he can win the game though? I mean, we're seeing him as like an underdog.
No, I don't. But no. Nobody thinks they probably like him. He's probably pretty likable. Mm-hmm. But people, no, he hasn't done anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he just hasn't done anything.
In Chelsea's exit interviews, she said a couple times that these Donathan stick to the plan moments at Tribal Council, that was not a one-time thing. She said that those happened a couple of times. So kind of like what you said about there may be some kind of blunder, he might say something.
Right.
That I guess that's kind of being alluded to in what we're seeing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I could be completely wrong, but it's so fuzzy as to who goes next because they all kind of blend together, especially with the way the editing has gone. I don't see Laurel going, so I'm going to put Laurel at 3.
And I have her at 3 as well.
Yeah,
I as well have
Laurel. I feel like
at 3.
this is exactly what happened last time. So when we did it with Will, our top 4 were all the exact same. It was Dominic, Wendell, Laurel. We all had Dominic, Wendell, Laurel in that order, and then we all had Donathan at 4 because last week you knew Donathan wasn't going home.
Yeah.
So it's funny that now it's happening again where it's Wendell, Dominic, Laurel. Like,
hey, give me 2 seconds. I want to look something up.
Yeah, go ahead. While you do that, one of my questions was going to be, so you're seeing Donathan as this guy who's not going to hit the merge. People probably like him, or not hit the finale. People like him, whatever. But one of the things I was going to ask is if he reminded you of anybody on either of your seasons where like they're just like a larger than life personality that maybe the fans like, maybe you like as a person, but you have no, like, you don't think they could win ever in a million years.
Who Donathan reminds me of?
Yeah, like, is there anybody on your 2 seasons that like you think could like fit into that?
Like this larger than, I'm trying to think.
He's a fun character. I'm really enjoying watching him.
He's likable too. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
You see him he kind of has an Eddie vibe in a way.
Okay.
Completely different character than Eddie, obviously.
Yeah.
The girls go crazy for Eddie.
Mm-hmm.
EMT, good looking, nice, charming. Eddie's like
that little lisp.
He does have a little lisp.
Very
is
subtle though.
Eddie is God's gift to women. You can't, and he's super nice. Like he's the coolest guy. So all good things. I equate Eddie and Donathan in that regard to they're just kind of like a fan favorite. But what did they do strategically? Probably not much. Not a ton.
Do you still keep in touch with Eddie or certain people from your seasons?
Random like connections here and there just because we live all over the place. I'm in Michigan, so the last big one from Michigan was Mike Scoopin, and he's no longer around.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Not somebody you really want to hang out with, probably.
No.
Would not recommend.
That was like somebody that would have been cool for season 16, Eric, to hang out with, right? But like because it was like before all of this mess, but now it's not as much fun.
I don't know if I did. I can't remember. But what I was trying to look up for a second ago was, let me see if this can go into the chat.
Oh, here we go.
There's this movie, Rashomon,
Oh yeah,
Rashomon.
yeah.
So Rashomon is a movie where they show, the same event, but like 5 different ways. I think if we all watched, this season edited a different way, we'd all have different power picks going into each episode. Like that's why we all have the same picks, is because their editing, hands you different things at different times for it to make sense with the narrative. I would love to see a Survivor season, with 5 different edits on the same season. That would be incredible. They don't have the manpower to do something like that, but that would be amazing. Like,
Really. Oh, go ahead.
Like, just imagine this season with like Chelsea as the power villain, edited that way, and then she goes out now, like completely different season. So,
I think the only one that kind of comes close to that in recent memory is Millennials vs. Gen X, because you had, not that it's different edits, but you had 4 people going into the finale where you were like, they could really win the game, and they've been edited up as if they could win the game. Like David could have won, Jay could have won. I would say Brett really had like a little bit of a chance, and then Adam definitely could have won. So you had like 4 people going into this finale and Ken was like the handsome like fisherman who provided and said, don't doubt these people. And even Hannah had her moments. Like, you're not getting that so much from this season, but I hear what you're saying. It would have been great if we actually saw like a season, or like even like a couple episodes that were from like the point of view of Desiree.
Right.
Like, other than like Chris, because we got so much Chris, and I can't complain about that because Chris was great.
It's been fantastic. He's been like the best character on the season.
Yeah. He's like a Philip in terms of he's like the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, exactly. Well, what would you? So you're saying he's like a Philip? Would he be fun to live with?
No, I mean, people said don't stop rapping. People said stop rapping. He was
rapping was a thing,
and every girl said something about him, like he's trying to flirt or talk to me or whatever. So the thing that interests me about this season that I see some parallels to is One World, in that on One World towards the end you had people who were just going along with whatever Kim said. And you kind of get that vibe here too. Like they're just kind of going along with it.
Yeah, they would try to play it maybe Chelsea and Sabrina as they're going to overthrow her, but like that's like Laurel and Jonathan right now, where like they're not actually going to make that move to make it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. But anyway, so what do I have so far? 1, 2, 3, and I have last.
And you have last. So Alexa, I just want to make sure. So your 1 was Wendell as well?
My 1 was actually Dominic, and then my 2 was Wendell. And then 3 was Laurel. I guess I'll go into number 4. I think we kind of talked about there are 4 wild cards left in the season, and I feel like we're all about to talk about those 4.
Yeah.
I actually have Angela at number 4. And I expected to have her a little bit lower, but I think she does make the finale, because I think we haven't gotten much strategic content from her, but we have gotten personal content from her. We haven't really gotten that from Sebastian. We've gotten that from Jonathan. We didn't get that with Chelsea. For the quote-unquote invisible people, Angela is kind of the only one who I just know about her personal life, which makes me think that there is a little bit more to her, and there is going to be this kind of big thing at the finale with her. But she's also, game-wise, I don't think people are very threatened by her. I think she's done a good job she was on the outside because she was with Chris, and then Chris left. I feel like she's done a decent job of integrating herself back into that Navidi group, which is now pretty shattered, but she's not the one that people are going for.
Okay. That all makes
What are your thoughts?
Sense. No, that all makes sense. No, that makes sense. I actually placed her second to last.
Okay.
And
it's only 2 spots away.
I know. But only because I see her storyline going to awesomely bitter juror.
Yes.
I see her as a juror, a very bitter juror. I don't see her in the finals. I see her as bringing some kind of fire to the finale that way.
I think what's going to end up happening with Angela, and I think we've seen this in the past, like a little more recently, is 6th place is normally like a pretty big boot. We've seen like the first boot of the finale seems like it's been a big boot. We got it with it was Jay back in Millennials vs. Gen X. Korong only had 4 people in the finale anyway, but like there's been moments in like these bigger finales where a big character goes out first. Wasn't Sari the first boot of that finale, or was she actually the week before?
I think she was I think she might have been the week before.
Might have been the week before because I think she was.
I get what you're saying though. That time period is pretty big.
That was a big one.
So what I feel like is going to happen is Angela's going to sneak her way through this episode, and we're going to lose a bigger character, or Sebastian maybe. And then what's going to happen is 6th place is going to be finally a Donathan, Wendell, Laurel, or Dominic. And then 5th place would be Angela. Like, I feel like Angela's going to make the finale, going to be the under-the-radar player. She's not going to be in the final 3. She's going to be like what Brett was, where the edit was really uneven throughout the entire season. But they had more moments than you – like, when you rewatch it, you're like, wow, she was a lot more a part of the season than I thought she was going to be.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to play it up. She's one of their final 5. There's only 2 tribal councils left. Like, she has to be there.
Yeah.
So I have Donathan at 4, and then I actually put Angela at 5. So disagreeing with Eric here, I just don't see how Donathan goes home this week. I mean, I feel like
yeah.
I just feel like he's been shown very close with Dominic, very close with Laurel. Like they would have to turn on him, and that would mean keeping around Kellen, who clearly like went after them last week. And that would mean keeping around even Angela, who has never been on their side the entire game from day one. It's amazing Angela's still in the game.
Yeah, it is. Especially because of her association with Chris so much as well.
Yeah. I mean, we saw that in the first episode that she was like talking to Chris, and that was like all we got.
You think Dom would want to, get rid of her earlier, for that reason? Yeah, but
unless he's looking at it as somebody he can just beat.
Yeah, we're probably missing some conversations.
Yeah, I would. Yeah,
some, only a couple.
Just a few,
yeah, here and there.
Yeah, I just have so like you're saying, like somebody who makes the finale but doesn't make it. I have Seabass in that position. Too.
Okay,
Seabass is somewhere. I think he'd be 4 or 5 interchangeably with Kellen.
Okay,
and Kellen. So I went back and forth on having Donathan in last or Kellen in last because I thought Kellen could just as easily fly off the handle and go home.
Yeah.
So those 2, I was like, and so I just kind of threw them in there like that.
Okay, so you have Kellen at 5 then?
Yeah.
Kellen's at 5, and then Seabass is 4. Okay, so
Seabass is going to be so my prediction is Seabass is going to be the comic relief in the finale because he can't make fire or something similar like that. So it's like final one, big moment, time to deliver. Seabass can't do it because he's high.
Yeah, exactly. Like, here's this guy
too high.
Not outdoorsy. Yeah, that's how I see that going down. Like the smoke is blowing in his face or something, and it's over.
And he gets high from that.
It is hilarious. So, like, as you watch the tribals, anytime he's sitting behind somebody, even when the camera's not focused on him at all, his face is the exact same as that one close-up that like became a meme or like whatever.
Yeah,
where his eyes are just kind of glossed over. He's staring at nothing.
Yeah,
I saw I think it was on Reddit today. There was someone posted a picture of like a dachshund wearing a hood, and they were like, "This is Sebastian. This is what Sebastian looks like at Tribal Council."
It's incredible. It's incredible. I mean, I would assume that production has weed, but how are they getting it to Sebastian?
It's probably pretty legal in Fiji, maybe.
He's just getting secondhand high, man. He's not hungry. He's not eating. He's
that
starving out there.
High.
He can just smell it coming out of somebody's smoking it right next to him.
I just sense it.
I've just never seen an edit of he's just a pothead. Like that's his edit. He's a pothead.
But it is a shame, though. I think I said this in our most recent recap. It is a shame because he is comic relief is the perfect way to describe him. He's so funny and he's kind of ridiculous. And we got a lot of that early on, and then it kind of disappeared. And I want that. I want pothead Sebastian. I would eat that up. I think it's hilarious.
They could do like a whole side, a whole spin-off show on Adventures of Sebastian, where everybody else is playing the game and he just gets into these wacky side adventures where he gets like caught in a tree trunk or something.
This is a comic you draw, Eric.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Seriously, that'd be hilarious.
You know what? Actually, just give me 2 seconds. I got to get a comic here. Let me grab something.
Awesome.
I do have a character who is a pothead. Let me see if I can find it. I don't want you guys to have dead air.
No, it's okay. Don't worry about it.
Who should we get? Let's think, Phil. Who do we think it is?
I don't know. I will say, though, I go Sebastian at 6 and Kellen at 7, Alexa, to kill 9, and then you can kill yours after that. I think Kellen is the one who's going to go this week. Like Eric was saying, it could be her or Donathan who flies off the rails. I think it's Kellen. There's been enough reason for Kellen to go this whole season now. And Eric is saying, well, we're staring at a spinning chair. No, so I think that Kellen has it's been playing up. I feel like she has to make the finale somehow, but if she's not going to, this is going to be the time she goes. So obviously, that's an obvious. But I'm going to say Kellen actually does go home this week somehow. She ends up 7.
All right, I'm back. I couldn't find it, but I know. So the comic book I made called Starving for Attention has a character that is a pothead.
Nice.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I think his name is Cooper or Coop. I can't remember. But yeah, he's a pothead. And
then he changed his name to Seabass.
You know what? Maybe I'll look it up later, and I'll send you guys a picture of it so you guys can post it or something. But
I would love to see that.
Yeah, and he gets high and he talks to a tree, and the tree gets really serious and really dark and tells him you're out here to kill your friends and all this other crazy stuff. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but that's not Seabass's thing. That's
no
character's thing.
Seabass just
he just hangs out with Jenna.
Yeah, he just votes off his girlfriend.
Yeah. And then declares his love for his sister.
Yes. Well, on this subject. So I just rattled mine off, Eric, while you got up. I just said I had Kellen at 7 because I just think she could be.
Okay.
I just think she's the one who finally does lose it here. I think Sebastian probably goes this week because they can't have Sebastian and Angela in the finale, so one of them has to get out of here this week. But if one of them's not going to, then I feel like it has to be Kellen because for week after week after week, we've seen her as being somewhat just whiny. And what we're hearing from the castaways is not that. The castaways don't seem to feel like Kellen is getting a fair edit at all when you read Exit Prints.
Okay.
So I find it interesting that she's being shown as obnoxious and whiny, and it's but we rooted for Bradley's downfall. We're not rooting for Kellen's downfall. It's just kind of why is she being like this?
Right. Yeah.
And now,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Dalton Ross is doing this absolutely hilarious Twitter hashtag thing. I forget what it's fake Kellen or some kind of Kellen thing, and everyone has to make a video of their Kellen impression. And the reason it's so funny is because Kellen is in on it. And it's hilarious, and she's got a good attitude about it. I mean, I'll give her that. I mean, I'm sure it's difficult having people say what they're saying about any player on the internet, as I'm sure you've experienced. And so I'm glad she's taking it in stride and making a joke out of it.
Yeah, I think a good fake. I'll post a good fake Kellen thing in a second. Yeah, a good idea.
Might need to do that.
I think I cannot remember his name. I think his name's Jacob. The second guy voted off this season.
Yes.
Yep.
He was saying something about don't be nasty. These are real people. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because people have been pretty nasty, but I mean, it's tough because you're on TV and you signed up to be on TV, so it does you're gonna get some backlash, but.
I think what's happened though is people have almost started taking it personally, and that's what we always say on this podcast is guys they're not out on the island to make you mad. So I feel like people think that they're being personally attacked. Like Chrissy last year when Chrissy would say something, people would be, "Oh my God, how could she do that?" And it's she's not out there to harm you or your family. Let her.
Yeah, she's out there because it's her passion.
You get obviously a bunch of shit for Micronesia, but I still feel when you came back for Caramel and people were excited to see you play again. Whereas if Chrissy came back, I feel half the people would be super excited and half the people would be "Oh my God, she was so awful." She was and people are taking it so more personally now.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because across all different shows, there's different stuff that comes up like this. Mm-hmm. So for instance, Micronesia, Natalie was getting a lot of hate, tons of hate. Mm-hmm. Oh, you're horrible, all this other kind of stuff. Another good example is Philip Shepard, who kind of plays a role. He tries to play into that role of being that annoying, crazy guy who's a specialist. Mm-hmm. In real life, he's not. He knows that it's, he knows what he's doing. so he can turn it off. Like he can, turn it off and go back to his family and friends and be like, yeah, I got to go be Philip Shepard, the specialist. He would hate if I told you guys that. But
I'm just realizing that you're the first specialist we've actually had on our show.
Oh, the silent one?
You're the first one because we asked back when I was doing this with Will, we said, give us a name. And somebody said, you're the survivor specialist. So you're actually the first one we've had. Wow. I forgot about that.
What's the group called? It's called something. He called it
the Assassins.
Stealth.
Yeah.
Wow, how could you not remember that? You were like the key component.
No, I got it.
Yeah, you were necessary.
A lot of it I repressed and blocked out. So it's gone.
I don't want to get you I don't want to get anybody in trouble here, but were you like more Team Brandon where it was like, stop belittling me?
When it was like, wait, what now?
Wasn't Brandon like saying like he's giving us these names that are like belittling and like awful? Like, are you more on like that side where it was like, why am I getting this name? Why am I the silent one?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's weird because like All-Star seasons have these big personalities that like crash into each other. Mm-hmm. And I kind of am like, I'm not an alpha male and I don't like being an alpha male. So I'll let them all kind of hit heads into each other. And then when the dust settles, the beta males can make it, the beta characters can make it to the end. Like Cochran is not an alpha male. I really don't think, and like we're going into Final Tribal and Jeff Probst is asking me like, what question do you have for Cochran now that he's developed into like this he's dominated the game? And I'm like, I don't think he dominated the game. I think he kind of escaped the car. Like he walked between the cars as they like crashed together. So
could you have beaten Cochran?
Close maybe.
Mm-hmm. It would have been closer than Dawn and Sherry, probably. I really honestly didn't have an end game. That was my biggest problem. I had no end game. Like I did not know. I was like, when my family came out to visit, I asked them, I was like, I need help figuring out what I'm going to say. Because I don't really know what to say. I knew I had made it I could make it to the end if I won a couple more, but I didn't know what I was going to say. So would you find it easier then, like the first time you played, obviously if you make it to the end, you say, look at me, I overcame the Girls Alliance, I overcame the favorites.
Yeah.
You like everybody always remembers you for the idol thing. And I always say that you're an incredibly underrated player because of what you did to Amy Cusack. Like that tribal council is like fantastic. Like you had to get through that. And like, would you say it's easier to tell your story in the first season because the second season you're just kind of like
gone?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so the first season made more sense, and in terms of like getting to the end, it was all likability because I didn't do anything. I was totally a passenger the first season, totally a passenger. It would have been everybody hated everybody else who played there, so they said give the money to the nice kid who escaped the carnage. Like then it would have been the same. It would have been the same thing. The second time, it depended on who I was next to. If I was next to a Malcolm would have kicked my ass because Malcolm did way more in Karamoan than I did.
Yeah.
Andrea would have done way more than I did. I don't know if Brenda would have necessarily. I don't know if Dawn would have. Well, Dawn did quite a bit. Dawn was like a Breaking Bad situation.
It seemed like everybody hated her, or not hated her, but was very bitter at her.
Yeah.
So I think you probably get votes over her because even if you didn't do anything, you didn't piss everybody off the way that Dawn did.
Right. And it's weird because generally you'll see like, returning seasons, people aren't so personal. They look at strategy, whereas like newbie seasons, like Russell Hance's first season, like he lost on likability and how he did it. So you'll see that, that temperature change season to season, that like pH between like likability and being a good person and playing a good game. So
yeah.
And that's the thing. If I ever go back again, it's got to be you have to win on strategy. You can't win on likability. It's not going to happen.
No,
it's hard to.
I think there's some people who can still pull it off.
Whoa!
But, you just got attacked by a dog.
No. Come here, buddy. Come here. It's okay. My chair broke.
Oh, hi.
Come here, Nico.
Oh crap! Your chair.
Nico, come here. Just a second, guys.
Yeah, no problem.
No, he's cute.
Alexa, you want to go through your 5, 6, and 7 here?
Yeah, I'll kill mine. But also, Travis Herod tweeted at us the Suri and Game Changers vote out or non-vote out, that was the first one of the finale because Jeff brought her out to this like big standing ovation, and he was like, "Wasn't this amazing?" And she was like, "No, it wasn't," and then she left.
That's right. Okay, so there you go.
So that clears that up. But with that, my 5 is Kellen, my 6 is Dominic, or excuse me, Donathan. Keep messing his name up, and 7 is Sebastian. I think. Sorry,
Alexa. Before you give your reason, I just want to let you know nobody's listening to you right now because the dog is right there.
He's so cute. Oh my gosh.
That's our best guess yet. Thanks, Eric.
Yeah.
Okay? You okay?
He looks so happy.
He's sleepy. He's sleepy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's right. We got you at 11:30 right now.
Yeah.
We had a Pacific Eastern mishap a little bit. Sorry about that. But yeah, so we got Alexa. So go ahead. Let's hear it.
So this is pretty quick. With Kellen, they are, playing her up to be pretty annoying, but you want to take annoying to the end. So if anything's bothering, if she's actually bothering one of them, he is so freaking cute. Oh my gosh. Essentially, I don't think Kellen's going to go because I think they can still use her. With Donathan, he is starting to stir the pot, whether intentionally or unintentionally, and we see that in the preview for this week. And I think this is where Laurel might say, okay, I got to nope out of him and hang out with Wendell more. And then when it comes to Sebastian, I feel like if they can subdue his personality the way that they did, that means that there isn't anything more that we're getting out of him.
Yeah.
And so I think this is the end of the road for Sebastian, unfortunately. But I'm sure his Ponderosa, whenever it happens, will be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially with him and Jenna running around, who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, serious shenanigans going on.
So there's going to be some serious like Eric/Kelly Sharbaugh thing going on there. Yeah. So no, I mean, I think we're all on similar pages, except Eric throwing out Donathan there at the bottom. That was, I mean, I'm surprised that you think Donathan goes, but
hey, might be a mistake.
Find out.
I don't know.
We'll find out.
Now your dog is
too cute.
Now the screen killing the screen here. We're gonna have what? This is our like Mark the Chicken now.
Oh.
We need to have like our intro where it's like and Nico.
Yeah, he's a good boy.
Mm-hmm.
He's only a year old.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh wow, he's so calm.
Not
it is 11:30.
Not during the day. He's not calm. He's crazy.
We got you at the late part of the night, so he's ready.
Yeah. What?
For everybody who's going to end up listening to this and not watching it, they're going to be like, what is going on?
Like, why is he talking to a human like this?
Yeah, exactly. It's a dog, everybody, we swear. What do we have here? So
that kills the power rankings.
That kills the power rankings. There it is. It's always a short one. There's only 7 people left, and we have 1 episode before the finale. Right. Who do you think takes it home? So I know you're saying it's Dom and Wendell's season, but who do you ultimately think takes it?
I think it's Wendell's. It's got to be Wendell.
Really?
It's Wendell or Dom. I know it's got to be one of those two. I just I kind of have a personal thing for. I would like to see Wendell win just because he has my necklace, and also I just think he's genuinely a cool guy. Like it would be great to see him win.
Mm-hmm. Has Wendell contacted you regarding the fact that he owns a piece of kind of your hardware?
No, but Dom, I don't think he's any less deserving. I know he has a family and all that too. So, if he gets second, or if it's switched, if it's Wendell second, Dom first, I'm still happy in terms of that. I think those two have shown that they earned it. They've worked together. I don't think people have been saying maybe there's going to be some bad blood, like maybe they will go after each other before the end. But I think it'll only happen at Final Tribal, where they might say something against each other.
Full like a JT and Steven type situation where you have to do it there.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. I feel like one of those two winning is really the only way this is a satisfying season, because I don't think, I've been like kind of defending Kellen on and off this whole entire season. I don't think she's played a bad game. I just think what we've seen from her has been bad. And so like, even if she like somehow went on to win the game, or if Laurel somehow pulls this out, you sit there and you say, well, where were they like either at the beginning, or why were we being shown this part of it and not this part? And why are we shown so much of Dom and Wendell just really running things?
Right. Right.
And Laurel just kind of like being confused or like almost being at like they're making it almost seem like Laurel's at the mercy of Donathan. Like whatever Donathan chooses, Laurel then in turn says, "Okay, fine, we'll do that."
Yeah, Laurel's a really complex character, which I actually like. I like her character on the show. It's more, it's more complex. You get to think about it some more and think, what is she thinking? What is she doing? Which I really like. I'd like to see that more with others, but I know they only have they have limited time to show that kind of stuff. But
yeah. I think she just seems more real. But the biggest problem is on a strategy heavy season, though, it's like hard to get into her head because she still has, even though she's been thinking about it and she has been like on the side working with Dom and Wendell for a majority of the game, Laurel had no control. So it's really hard to give her stuff early on.
Right. She kind of got brought into it late. Yeah, I totally, I think I agree with that. Yeah. It's interesting. So I didn't read the Chelsea exit interviews. I think I perused like a Twitter feed that somebody had talked about it. And I'm under the impression that, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. So Chelsea thinks that she did more on the season. Obviously her edit was like very slim. Like she was like not there. So she probably did do more. I have seen a lot in the past where people will say, I did tons of things, but they really didn't. They just think that they did, or they assume that they did. Like, what do you guys take? What is your takeaway being people who read some of Chelsea's exit interviews? Like, what's the takeaway there?
Did you read any of hers, Phil?
I will say, so what happened was my sister graduated from college this weekend, and I was stuck in the mountains, and I literally had no service in a log cabin for 4 days. Okay. But I will say, based on other people's exit interviews about Chelsea, I don't think Chelsea did much. I think that she won a couple immunities. Maybe she could have gotten something here or there for getting an immunity win. Yeah. But other than that, it seemed like everybody said what you saw was really what you got. She was just kind of there. Her confessionals really weren't much. Like that was it.
Yeah, I think I read most, if not all of them. I think I agree with Phil I think it was Bradley's exit interview where he said when we were on that Malolo beach, Bradley and Kellen would whisper into Chelsea and Dez's ears, make it seem like it was their own ideas and vote out Brendan. Obviously, I mean, that could be true. Chelsea, in her exit interviews, implied that those were her ideas. But the two things that I will give Chelsea are when Bradley was voted out, she and Dom talked about throwing the challenge in order to get rid of him. And she purposely sat out because she didn't. I think the phrase she said was, "It wasn't in my nature to throw a challenge. I just couldn't do it." So the Bradley vote out was impending, and then when they merged after that, I feel like she handled the damage control with Kellen fairly well. And she framed it more as it was something that needed to be done. We didn't want to. He was rubbing people the wrong way. It just kind of happened. And I think that's a situation that very well could have bothered Kellen, but I think that worked out pretty well for her. So those are two that especially stuck out to me. But past that, I think those might have been kind of it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I see all the time in exit interviews. It seems like it sticks out to me because I'll notice it and I'll see it where someone will say, I did so much more. I did this and this and this and this. And I'm like, this especially comes from people who go out like day 5 or day 6 or day 7. And I'm like, you didn't. You just you couldn't have possibly in that amount of time, and you couldn't have possibly within, and then like you said, you can piece together from other exit interviews what's going on. Yeah. I think what you said is probably true. Like, give her credit for what she did do, but
it's still interesting to hear, like, even you just said, like, the second time you didn't really have an end game, and then you get medevac at the end. So that's probably why you didn't get much screen time. But, like, you did. I mean, Natalie Bolton, people always say they wish she would come back, but she was a pretty invisible character until the last, like, 2 or 3 episodes of the season.
Right.
Like, so she could be one of those, Brenda didn't really get much on your season. Were they doing more than maybe you're led on to, or do you kind of see, like, the same thing where it was, like, they kind of got fairly edited?
Yeah, so like let's look at Natalie. So Natalie's main thing was it was her and Alexis, like till the end. They were like ride or die. So her and Alexis were pretty tight, like all the way through. But there was a swap about the halfway point. So Natalie went over to, she started talking to Parvati, started talking to all them. I wasn't a part of any of that. When we merged later, Natalie kind of just talked to me as a friend, I thought. And every once in a while, then she started saying, like, let's pull Erik in because he's a vote. So I remember Natalie was pretty instrumental in terms of, I think she was an extension more or less of Parvati, in that Parvati would tell Natalie, pull these certain fans, we need them. So she could do that. Brenda on Caramoan was really involved with Dawn. Like there was a really close relationship there. And so in Caramoan, I made it a point to not be in strategy talks. And I would just say, tell me who to vote for right before tribal, because I wanted to know the options and then just decide on the spot. Like I wanted to be the swing vote. I wanted to be the swing vote. And, I couldn't keep up with, Andrea, Cochran, Brenda, Dawn, Philip, Malcolm, all spinning different strategy talk for like 3 hours before tribal. I can't keep up with that. And it was tiring. So I was like, I don't care about all this strategy crap. Just tell me who to vote for, like when the time comes. And then I'll make a decision at that point based on who comes and talks to me. I told this to everybody. So before tribal, I would have 2 different groups of people come up and tell me, who to go vote for, because they all had their talks.
Yeah.
So the second time, Brenda was in those communication circles. So Brenda did a ton. And I think it was mainly with Dawn. Dawn was her main point of contact. So I think Brenda did a lot more in terms of relationship building. And I think they could have got a much better emotional payoff had they shown more of the Brenda-Dawn relationship in that season, because of, the teeth incident and all the other stuff that happened.
Because really all it ended up doing was it made an ugly ending to what started off as an ugly season. Yeah. Because we saw her find the teeth. But other than that, all we really knew about Brenda was what we had seen from Brenda on Nicaragua, which was that she was like a villainess. That is what they were all scared of with her coming out. So to not give her a little bit more there, I totally get what you're saying. It would have been much better. I mean, did she win fan favorite on your season, or did she almost win it? Weren't they still doing the sprint thing?
I can't remember. It was either her or Malcolm.
Because I think she was a finalist for it. And it was literally only because of the teeth thing, because she found the teeth and got a big edit and then got voted out. And then that would everybody voted before she actually got the final tribal council and was pull your teeth out and show everybody what you would have seen. I mean, where are you sitting there? You're at this final tribal. You just got pulled from the game 2 days ago. What are you you're sitting there and that happens. What's going through your head?
It's crazy, absolutely crazy. This doesn't happen. This is nuts. And then just Dawn, everything with Dawn was too much of a mix of strategy and personal. She'd be your best friend and your mom figure or whatever, but then she'd go and she'll throw you under the bus as soon as she can, or she'd be no, it's just about gameplay. So she kept it really muddy. She messed all that up.
Gotcha.
And seeing that happen, I know Brenda was furious when all that happened, when she got voted off. So it was she's I'm going to talk about the teeth. She absolutely wanted to do that. So we knew it was coming. We kind of knew it was coming. But the audience didn't see more weight to it because Brenda and Dawn had been friends essentially since day 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember watching that with my parents. My dad was just oh, why? Ew. Why do we need to see that? Why do we need to? And that what you're saying, if we get 37 days of content as opposed to day 25, they become friends. Now she's mad. No, I got you.
Right. I think I remember a conversation on I walked up on a conversation of Dawn and Brenda, and Dawn had promised Brenda final tribal spot, and this was at day 20, maybe somewhere in the middle there. She promised her some spot on the finals. So it wasn't just this happened and the teeth happened. There's way more to that, which nobody ever saw any of that, because it was Cochran. It's focus on Cochran, focus on Philip, focus on Dawn's chaotic spiral.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, but anyway.
Anyway, so we've pretty much hit an hour. Alexa, is there anybody left for the survivors to pick for the survivor pool?
So we do this thing called an eliminator game, which is pretty much an NFL survivor pool, but for the season. So pretty much every day or every week you pick someone who you do not think is going to go home, but then you can't pick them again. And for the guest / survivor team, the only person that you can pick is Dominic, which is a pretty good pick.
Yeah. All right.
So
it's a shame you come on this late because we were saying everybody was so selfish in the early picks. I think it was Troy's and was like, I'm going to take Wendell. Like, why would I not take Wendell? Or whoever he took. He might not have taken Wendell, but he did. I think he took Wendell, and he was I'm going to take Wendell because he's not going to go home. So you don't really get a choice there, but at least you know, like, the last person being picked is by you. So if Dominic somehow goes home this week, you lost it for all the survivors. It's all even though you couldn't pick.
I like when I show up and I like showing up and I don't do anything and I win or I lose. That's cool.
It's good. Nice and easy.
What's fun about it is, like, we did a Kickstarter to, like, raise money so that we could go onto iTunes and pay for, like, the hosting and everything.
Okay.
And we did that. We said if you donated a certain amount, you could do the Eliminator game with us for the season. So we had, like, 10 people who did the Eliminator game. Adam Klein was in it. So, like, everybody had, like, a little more incentive to, like, do it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do it yourself, there's, like, strategy because, like, you want to pick somebody you think you want to pick your first pick. You want to be the second person voted out because you can't pick anybody more than once.
Okay.
So you don't want to run out of people. Well, Adam came on first this season. He was like, I want to do the Eliminator game. Let me do the Eliminator game. So we were like, all right, cool. Give us your person. So he gave us his people, and he, like, thought about it. Like, I don't think these people are going to go that deep, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was just like, well, I'll do, like, whoever was our second guest was like, well, I'll have Libby because, I mean, like, Libby's not going to go anywhere for, like, 10 episodes. And we're like, well, that's not really the point. And then, like, Troy's finally is like, I think Wendell's going to win. And then he's like, and I'm going to take him for the Eliminator game. And we were like, we're now, like, when you get to that point, you just don't want to be the one who messes it up. So everybody was just, like, taking the best person. I'm honestly shocked Dominic was even there.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
Yeah. Yeah, Dominic was there.
Right, cool.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm in a weird position because I have two options, and they are Sebastian and Wendell. And so I can't mess this one up. And I think I have to go with Sebastian.
Oh, it was Julia Sokolowski who went with Libby. But yes, you have to go with Sebastian because if Sebastian, I mean, what does Vaughn have left? So we do with another guy, Vaughn.
Oh, Vaughn has he only has Wendell left, so he has to pick Wendell.
He has to take Wendell. So really, if I'm you, Alexa, I
gotta take Sebastian.
No, you take the other person because then no matter what, you win as long as that person lasts.
Well, the only other person I have is Wendell, and Vaughn also has Wendell.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is if you pick Wendell this week and Sebastian doesn't go home, you win because you have Sebastian left. So much strategy. Eric, you came in at a bad time for this game. That's all I'll say.
What do you think, Eric? What should I do?
I mean, you should just show up and then they give you one. That's what you should do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you came in late.
All right, screw it. I'll go with Wendell.
All right. So, Eric, before you head out here, I do have to ask you because you were sitting there at Heroes versus Villains, and then they had Redemption Island come up, and they had like that whole thing.
Yeah.
And I really thought they were going to bring you back for like one of these redemption seasons, and then they didn't. And then you came back for whatever it is. But I do want to ask, in your opinion,
for that season.
Well, I mean, fans versus favorites was literally mild fans versus like Eric Cochran and a group of like other people that were kind of liked. Like there was like 5 favorites on your season. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Going into the season, and I think you were one of them because you were remembered for the necklace. Cochran was obviously a big favorite,
right?
But
Malcolm,
but like Philip Shepard, I met Francesca. Francesca is amazing. I think she's awesome, but like she wasn't a favorite. She got brought back because of the relationship.
Right.
But I just wanted to ask, in your opinion, what is the dumbest move in Survivor? Because you were brought up on Heroes versus Villains and you didn't win it. But what do you actually think is the dumbest? Because they say it's JT's move.
Dumbest.
Or James with the idols.
God, it's so hard to do that. Oh man. Okay.
I mean,
I'm trying to think, because to me, dumb signifies you know better.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think of it like. Like you should know better always. And for me, the immunity thing is one of those. Like what I did was pretty damn dumb.
Yeah,
you know not to do that.
I have to ask it because when you're watching Heroes versus Villains, everybody's like sitting there and it's like like bringing Tina to the final tribal was one of the decisions, and it's like that's really like you're going to consider that like a top 5 dumbest move in Survivor history. Like I just wanted to ask you because I'm like sitting here and it's like that's like what is remembered, and then somehow JT's jumped over you. So it's like, do you want the crown or do you not want the crown? You know.
So JT's is not that dumb. I don't think his is. This is also a really loaded question for me. You know, from the criteria, from what this is.
Someone tweeted at us saying Wu taking Tony to the end.
That was pretty bad.
That was pretty bad.
That's pretty dumb.
Were there any other dumb moves on like either of your seasons that were like really dumb that you like wish would have been shown, or just like don't get the credit they deserved?
I mean, they show the dumb stuff. They do. They everything dumb has been shown. I'm pretty sure. I think if you look at the dumbest one on a dollar amount, it's got to be Ian from Palau. Because he was closer to the end than I think anybody was when he made that decision. Like, that's, you know, if you rank it by like the stakes, like somebody who makes a dumb move, like Jacob's mistake this season was pretty dumb in terms of trying to like pitch this fake idol to his team, then he couldn't do it. But it happened second. It's like the third day, so it didn't matter. There was no like. I think Ian from Palau is pretty bad. I think it's up there.
That's an interesting one because like I think Jeff always points at that as like one of his favorite moments, and not like one of the dumbest. Like,
and that's the thing. That's the thing about this too. Like for me, the thing that I've come to know is that like failing is like a human thing. Like we fail. So to me, like the most human moments are also like our worst moments sometimes. Like when the Hindenburg explodes, like that was a very like amazing, incredible thing, but it was a human moment. It was a failure. Like so each one of those things, like when Ian stepped down, that was a huge piece of the show. Like it shows why Survivor is great, but it also shows why Ian made a dumb, really dumb mistake. Like he was so in this headspace of like being with those people and everything. And
I think this kind of goes back to what you said earlier when you said that people are now trying to play a safer game. If you look at what were the 2 most exciting idols, or the 3 most exciting idols of this season by far, were James's, or most recognizable, I guess you could say, James's, yours, and the stick. Because all 3 of them were huge risk things. Yeah. And like you said, you look at yours as I should have known better. I should have never done this in the first place.
Oh, yeah.
But every single person remembers that happening. Nobody forgets it. Nobody forgets James's. Nobody forgets the stick. And then like what they have other ones that come up where you're like, oh, I forgot what that idol looked like Andrea's in Caramo. And I'll be honest with you, I forgot you found it. Like, you know, because it was just like so long ago and just not as memorable of a moment. So I don't know. Interesting.
It's like, you know, our brains are wired to remember mistakes, like to remember huge blunders like things. That. Like you remember, like you can remember the winners. I think that's like that's like the one good thing every season you remember, but you'll remember all the messed up stuff.
Yeah. That's a good point. You remember like the winners, the quitters, and then the people like you remember Brandon Hance gave up his idol, but you might not necessarily remember him like being like kind of creepy towards Michaela. Like
I remember that.
Yeah, I do now.
Anyway,
I gotta get out of here, you guys. But
no
getting
problem.
Close to midnight.
Well, Alexa, if you want to wrap it up.
All right, I'll wrap it up quick. So Phil and I will be back this Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 midnight Eastern, for the penultimate episode of Survivor Ghost Island. In the meantime, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, hit that subscribe button. Eric, thank you so much for coming on. We really enjoyed having you. And we'll be back this Wednesday.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot, Eric. Appreciate it.